Hey, what's up? GW coming to you live. First of all, give a big shout out to a new subscriber, Amanda Klein. She's really awesome. I met her the other day, and I just wanted to say, hey, thank you very much. Um, Also, my man Joey works down at McBride's. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. And today at McBride's, in the afternoon to early evening, Santa Claus is down at McBride's at Christmas Land. You guys got to go check it out. And I hope you do because it's a really cool place to go. Excuse me. I'm going to try to get down there one of these days and maybe get a video interview with Santa. But I don't know. We're going to see. So, anyway, now that we got those introductions and recommendations out of the way, I'd like to talk to you about a classic movie that stars Dustin Hoffman. And it's done by Sam Peckinpah. And I believe it's based on a book called The Siege at Trencher's Farm. And I'm talking about the classic Straw Dogs. If you guys have not seen this thing has. It's a very powerful, sort of violent, controversial movie. It's basically about. It's about a school teacher, or mathematician, who moves into a New England town with his girlfriend, or his wife, I'm not sure which. And they sort of get harassed a little bit by the local patrons of a bar, and it's a domino effect. And basically, what happens is that these patrons of a bar are working on their house, and they want to. They are obsessed with Dustin Hoffman's girlfriend and wife in the film, and they go so far as to actually rape her. In that respect, it becomes a rape and revenge fantasy whenever one of the locals, or rape revenge deal. And there's another story going on here within this movie, is that one of the locals that has been let out of prison for crimes, people do not trust him, they don't like him, they're prejudiced against him. Well, he ends up at the end of the movie, the climax of the movie, in Dustin Hoffman's character's house, and Dustin Hoffman's trying to protect him, and these locals sort of terrorize them. So before we get into this, why should you watch it? Well, the end set the template for films like Home Alone, Home Alone 2, the home invasion traps. This was the template for that kind of thing. Dustin Hoffman goes from a meek sort of character to a sort of Rambo-esque character when pushed, and it's really well done. The tagline for this movie is "From Cowardice to Courage," and it really shows. The acting is very good, and I would have to say that when you hear the word classic, some people think boring, some people think, not my thing, but this movie really delivers. And Sam Peckinpah, from what I know, guys, I don't know much about him, but he is a legendary director, and he did a lot of the spaghetti westerns where basically, people get shot, killed all over the place. There is some intense moments in this, and it's really a real roller coaster toward the middle, toward the end. But the whole movie builds up to this epic, home invasion. Now they did remake the movie, and it was not well received in that respect. So this movie was actually filmed at the West End of England, and I believe that all the buildings and all the things you see in the movie, minus the house Dustin Hoffman, his character was in, was actually there. Now, I said the remake. The remake is the same sort of formula. A young couple moves into a southern town to avoid the annoyances, I guess, of everyday life, you could say. And it becomes a living hell when dark secrets and lethal passions spiral out of control. The remake stars James Marsden, Kate Bosworth, and Alexander Skarsgård. Now, if you've watched the two of these, they are similar in story, but this one just it doesn't hold a candle. Dustin Hoffman's performance is pretty much the best one. The one thing you will remember about this film is there is a scene with a they call it a man trap. It's a giant bear trap looking thing. And it is used in both films. But I think in the first film, it's done more shockingly because the minute you see this trap being put up, you know that something's going to happen to it, with it. In the Dustin Hoffman version, it's a little less graphic but more shocking. So I think it delivers more of a punch whenever you watch this. The other thing is that this is. I don't know if this movie came out before the actual Death Wish, but again, Death Wish sort of copied the same template of having people, they raped Paul Kersey's wife, and next thing you know, he goes on to tear. Charles Bronson does the same thing. That was set in the city, so I think this one was set before. I'm not sure, because I think this was in the early 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Now, ABC Pictures Corporation put this out. I have not seen anything from them. But this is the unrated version. I have never seen the rated R version, so I don't know the comparisons. But there is some really intense scenes here. Now, both of these, like I said, are very good. But once you watch the Dustin Hoffman movie, you kind of know what you're going to get into with the James Marsden vehicle. But I was very, very impressed. The one thing that I will say is, aside from the violence and the shocking, nature of the movie, it was a very tame movie. I don't think there was one F word in there. I think they used the word bastard one time. So profanity level's pretty low. Even looking at the violence toward the end of the conclusion of the film, it's not as graphic, but for the time period, I think it did push a lot of buttons because it stepped on that morality issue, and it actually answered the question, like, what would you do if you were pushed? And Dustin Hoffman has appeared. He's a legendary actor. And I would say his top three best movies are Lenny, where he played the character of Lenny Bruce, this one, and Rain Man. I would think those are his three top best movies, if I had to pick, because they each showcase a different side of him. This one I really like because in this movie he's nobody special. He's just a scientist who goes into a New England town to sort of just play around on his blackboard. And now he's forced to deal with the locals who are basically, something out of that movie Deliverance, But it's really neat. Now his wife or his girlfriend's character in this movie, she goes through phases. At first, she doesn't want to have anything to deal with the violence, and then as it gets more and more and more into the conclusion of the film, she comes around and joins him to protect this house. And that's the other thing I like about this film is that it's about a man standing up to protect his house and his family and where he lives. And there's a quote at the very end of the movie where the guy that they were protecting says, "I don't know my way home." And Dustin Hoffman's character says, "That's okay, because I don't know mine either." And I think that's a metaphor for finding yourself. Like, you've just been through this whole thing and you don't know where to go from here. And that's the other thing I liked about the movie. It's more deeper than your average rape revenge fantasy. And the way Sam Peckinpah does, incorporate the rape of Dustin Hoffman's wife or girlfriend in the film, it really takes it a little bit deeper than most, because there's a scene directly after that where they're at this church, this church organization, fundraiser party, whatever you want to call it. And everything that is going on, whether it's a kid blowing a party favor or people drinking and being loud, triggers something. And it makes you feel like, yeah, the damage has been done, and it's really well done. It's not overblown, it's not crazy, it's just well done. So, Straw Dogs, the Dustin Hoffman vehicle, is a very, very good movie, and it did I believe, set the template for a lot of the films that came after it. Like I said, Death Wish, and then you have at the end of the movie where he's setting these makeshift traps, and that set the template again for the Home Alone 2, you know, type films. And like I said, the remake was pretty good. And I think the people on the remake, now who was the remake directed by? Let's see. The remake was directed by, oh, it's based on hang on, I can't read this. They always put these small print. Okay, so the remake was also based on the novel Siege at Bleacher's Farm. um, I don't remember much about it. I just can remember the bear trap in this thing. And I remember it would look so violent, like it looked like something that was just out of control craziness. I think the remake does go a little bit further in nature because I do believe it retains the hard R rating. It's been a long time since I saw it, but both of the movies are. I would say the best one is the original because it sets the template. The remake, it's just an updated, modernized, more graphic version of the first one. But if you're looking for a movie that, from the 70s that was highly controversial and you like Dustin Hoffman and somehow you skipped this, or you're wondering if it's an interesting movie, it really is. It really is because it does confront, morality. And I think when it came out, it nobody had ever seen anything like this, unless you count the spaghetti westerns. But this one, I think, was a more intense, yet less graphic, but more shocking in nature type thing. Why you'd want to watch it is because of the last 20 to 25 minutes where Dustin Hoffman protects his home from these, rowdy bar patron deliverance type people. And it's a very, very cool thing. And the way it was done was just interesting. And you can see why it became a classic. So anyway, check that out. And again, thank you to Amanda Klein and thank you to Joey for subscribing. And gonna try to get ready for Christmas, y'all. We gotta put the tree up, do all this mess, and hopefully, maybe make it down. But yeah, like I said, go down if you guys check this out, go down to McBride's. If you guys got kids, go down to McBride's Christmas Land. Check Santa out, man. Tell him Greg sent you, because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what he got going on down there.